Okay, the garage between the living space, the door, excuse me, between the living space and the garage should have a self-closing spring on it to close, otherwise a fire could just walk right on in. We've had some movement here. So what's happened here is these steps are no longer dimensionally uniform. So there's not supposed to be more than a 32nd of an inch difference between the steps. And these two are cast, so that's pretty much a given. But then we come up, and this top step is a lot more than a 32nd of an inch. Over here, we have the water heater. Looks like it's recent installation. It's a couple years old. 40 gallons, excuse me, 40 gallons. Pretty recent installation. Electronic ignition. We do not have an expansion tank. We have just an 80 psi. For 81, you need an expansion tank. This flue is a fiber mineral material which resembles asbestos. I can't tell you that asbestos flue pipe is asbestos, but that flue pipe looks like it might be asbestos. The hot water supply line is kinked. It's kinked right there. Okay, that's the bonding for your electrical system. That's the main water shutoff valve. And these two. Get up there. I'm growing. These two water supply lines should be insulated. We do have our dielectric unions. Okay. This is a temperature pressure relief valve. It should be insulated as well. But even more than insulated, it should be hooked up. It shouldn't be a flexible material. Flexible material is okay, except that it's threaded. Shouldn't be threaded. Shouldn't make a P-trap. And then outside, we learned that it's terminated too high. The gas line does not have a sediment trap. And like I said, it's only been installed a couple years. So, just wondering. You're supposed to have an air gap. I don't guess that's the air gap. I guess, but I'm not seeing much in the way of. Put a little light on it. Why not? It's loose right there. Not seeing much in the way of a green tag, a building permit. We have a recent installation over here. Nice panel. Nice panel. Okay. See, it was installed with sheetrock screws. They're fast and tight. I get that, but they're brittle. If this structure was to experience, for example, a tornado, this box would stand a much better chance of remaining in place if it had been properly fastened, which it wasn't. You're not supposed to have more than an 1/8 of an inch gap between the cabinet and the sheetrock. You should have little rubber boots on L1 and L2 to help prevent. If you don't know that's hot, you don't belong in this cabinet. I get that. But those are supposed to have little rubber boots on them. And right over here, the condensing unit, which is properly fused, by the way. I say good things every once in a while. Hang on. Here. This is what I'm dealing with. Okay? And that's only because I moved that. Okay, so this just wasn't ready for inspection. That's what I'm dealing with. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to rant. I do sometimes, I guess. But the condensing is properly fused. You see that white hot going in there? It should have black tape wrapped around it. See this neutral, that white tape on there? That's good. That's a good thing. And like that, you should have black tape wrapped around that. And like these boots, if you don't know that that's hot, you don't belong in this cabinet. But, so that's what we've got so far. We've got a gap that's too far. We've got the wrong kind of screws. We've got a black hot, the bonding location, which is on the water heater over there. The bonding location is supposed to be labeled in here. It's easy to find, I get that, but that's what's supposed to happen. And then on our, much like the water heater, this guy doesn't look like he's very old. and I'm not seeing a building permit. I'm not seeing a green tag. Just FYI. So what's labeled in here? Let's see this labeling. That's block printing. That's handwriting. Handwriting. It's supposed to be printed like this. It's printed like that. Not handwritten like that. So that's what we got. But we're not through yet. This door opener button, control button. It's not supposed to be farther. It's not supposed to be closer to the threshold than 5 feet to keep the little hands from coming up. And these cables, these wires, control wires, those are supposed to be insulated staples. Now, this door opener is supposed to be on a GFCI protected circuit. And they're advertising GFCI protected circuits in the garage. But I don't know, I cannot tell, I cannot ascertain that receptacle outlet is GFCI protected. And I'm not testing the GFCI in here. I'm not testing the GFCI in here because this deep freeze is in use. So, and I can't see where I would begin to reset a GFCI in this garage. I'm seeing lots of labeling, but I'm not seeing the actual device. So, also, these extension cords, you should not have extension cords in a permanent application. And if the fluorescent lights stay, they should have protective prism covers. So coming on along, there's storage. Coming along. Oh, here's the door. Huh, okay. The optic sensors are not supposed to be closer. It's further from the floor than 6 inches. And there you are. And then the floor. Flashlight back out. Put it up. The brains I was born with. But that's okay. This garage floor is broken. I mean, it's more than cracked. This is a floating slab, by the way. It's a pier and beam house. It's a floating slab. Optic sensors are too high. Other than that, you've got notices on the corners. You got a handle. You got emergency pull handle. The courtesy lights are working. So it's got some things going for it. What's it got going against it? The optic sensors are too high. The control button's too low. We do not have a warning notice on the control button. And the control wires do not have insulated staples. That's what we got on that. This is, you've probably seen this in another video, but that's the safety pan, which is hooked up, and that's the temperature pressure relief valve drain line, which is not hooked up, and both of them are higher than 6 inches from the ground. Moving on along. Well, that's really about it, actually. I don't think I mentioned this, but the garage casement's not supposed to be in direct contact with the cement.